A widespread early alpha or beta is oftentimes dangerous. You can screw things up early on and then never recover. You can set a bad precedent for your game and not be able to ever surmount that chasm that you created. It's dangerous to take a game out when it's not ready, and we often see plenty of titles have massive issues early on, even when they're full releases, let alone something like an alpha, beta, or an early access. I've played countless games over the years where the servers were swamped, the game crashed like crazy, players could not play, things did not work, or companies self-sabotaged themselves by doing things like requiring strange logins or making restrictions, increasing the price of microtransactions, or otherwise doing bad by their fan base. So it's strange to talk about the worst problem in Marvel Rivals because it's not like the others. What's going on, guys and girls? It's GhostRobo, excited to be here talking about this title with you. Thankfully, I get into the alpha. I've been playing and posting videos. Hopefully, you've seen me dominating the skies as Storm, crushing the battlefield as Rocket, and working on some easy KOs as Magneto. But this game does have a darker side, and so I do want to cover that as well. But first, before we do, let's talk about the good, okay? The good here is that, holy crap, the game is polished. For an alpha, the game is polished. I'd say for a full release, the game is pretty polished. I've had not a single crash. I've had maybe one or two graphical hiccups, and I've had a super smooth experience from a visual standpoint, an audio standpoint, a connection standpoint, a lobby standpoint. Like, it has been purring, and I think that is remarkable. We get very used to and accustomed to games coming out and not being able to cut it. They don't have the ability to take on the load of all the different players. They don't have the ability to work out the bugs beforehand. But Marvel Rivals came in like a superhero. They put on the Hulkbuster armor and they were like, you know what? Throw that Captain America shield at me, blast me with all sorts of Sentinel super beams, and try to take me out with adamantium claws. You can't do it. I think it's incredibly impressive that Marvel Rivals plays and looks and does as well as it does. Like, forget if you like the genre, forget if you like this type of game, forget if you enjoy this depiction of the Marvel characters. They have delivered an amazingly sound and solid title right off the bat. That wins them so many brownie points from me, because it means that, hey, I mean, in theory, the full release can only do better. There's very little to clean up with this version of the game in terms of graphics, in terms of performance, and that's something that's, hard to say about online multiplayer games. A lot of times, these type of titles, they don't start off well. I can't tell you how many times I've been at like late night launches over the years, and the games just, they can't quite hold on. It's just problematic. People can't get in, the server queues are forever, or you're Helldivers 2 and you require a PSN login. So Marvel Rivals already gets a golden star for being a game that you can play, for being a game that plays well, and frankly, I think for being a good game. I think Marvel Rivals really does stand on its own as like, hey, this is a strong game, and even, without the Marvel name, which of course adds popularity, but even without it, like, this game is solid, this game is fun, this game plays well, and this game does incorporate good things about Marvel. Like, the characters that they've included take advantage of the things that make Marvel Marvel. The team-ups are pretty cool, but I do think the team-ups are going to need a little bit of working. It's currently in this state where, like, if you don't have the team-ups, I think certain characters are so much worse, and I feel like it's a bit off balance that not every character has a team-up. It really emphasizes certain characters, and then, how are they going to balance that? Are they going to rotate in and out which characters have team-ups? Is every character going to have a team-up? I don't know how that's going to work or what they plan to do with that, but let's get to the bad. The biggest problem with this game is what they forced creators to sign. And I think this is extra interesting because I'm on the outside of this looking in. I freely admit I applied to be a Marvel Rivals creator, and they never responded. I was never contacted. They never said anything about it. I was a bit surprised, but like, that's okay. The channel has ebbed and flowed throughout the years. I didn't get in. And I heard from an influencer, content creator, YouTuber friend, like, hey, have you seen this contract? It's really weird. And I was like, no. And he was like, okay, well, yeah, I'm not signing that. And so I wasn't sure what that meant, what that was about, what the big deal was, but now it's all come to light. Marvel Rivals has a PR issue, it has a positivity problem, and it's one that, like, the game absolutely does not need, because the game earns its positive remarks on its own. The game is good, it performs well, all those things I said previously. The deal here is they were requiring content creators to not speak negatively about the game. And I'll read you directly from the contract as someone posted. The content creator agrees not to make any public statements or engage in discussions that are detrimental to the reputation of the game. This includes, but is not limited to, making disparaging or satirical comments about any game-related material, such as the game's features, characters, or music, engaging in malicious comparisons with competitors, or belittling the gameplay or differences of Marvel Rivals, or providing subjective negative reviews of the game. Holy crap, the last line is the one that you want to pin your ears to, because it says that you cannot give any subjective negative review of the game. So oftentimes we'll see things where they're like, you can't use, awful language, you can't make racist remarks, you can't, that's fair game. That's totally fine. And if for your creator program you do or do not want that, totally understand. But to say that you do not want and will not allow, and your content creators are signing away their right to negatively review the game or speak in any sort of disparaging or satirical manner about the game features, characters, or music, that's pushing it far. Now, Marvel Rivals has responded, and I think they're kind of just, being a little bit silly about it. I think they're being a little bit plain dumb. There's been a ton of games that have come out in the last decade. There's been a ton of content creator programs in the last decade. There's been a ton of things that have gone on in the last decade since YouTubers and gaming companies started working together, and there's been a bunch of these contracts. I remember way long ago, there were some things like this. I think Ubisoft actually had one of them where it was like you couldn't talk disparagingly about the game, and that became an issue. And there was sort of a change where Ubisoft removed that and no longer had that, and it made it much more welcoming and easier for creators to partake with Ubisoft, because people want the freedom to say what they want. Even if the game is very good, even if you're never going to say a bad thing, you don't want to feel like you're required to. And that's what I was saying about, like, this is like an unnecessary, unintentional, weird issue where they didn't even need to do this. They should have had confidence in the game that they had, and they should have trusted that it would do well. Even if the game wasn't good, even if they didn't have confidence in the game itself, they should have just let it play out as it plays out. Don't force people to do things. This only can backfire. And I guarantee somebody tried to say, don't do it. Don't do it. This is going to backfire. So now you have this issue where the people who are supposed to be the biggest supporters and spread the game the best are the ones who are required to say positive things and now have a bad taste in their mouth. Certain creators tried to get out of this. Certain creators didn't even accept the contract. Certain creators didn't even take extra codes, and that prevents the game from spreading. But now Marvel Rivals has apologized, and I'm curious what you think of their response. All right, so Marvel Rivals came out and said, "We sincerely apologize for the confusion, suspicion, and frustration caused by these excessively restrictive terms, and thank you for sharing with us. We cherish and appreciate every suggestion given by our players and always respect your feedback." Okay, I just want to pause here because no, clearly you do not cherish and appreciate feedback because you didn't want honest feedback. This is spinning this in a way that works for you, and that's fine. Understand it has to be done probably, but no, you didn't at all. But okay. We are currently working with creators who express these concerns and are revising the current version to be less restrictive and more creator friendly. Thank you for bearing with us while we make these adjustments. Okay. They went on and they tweeted, "We would like to take this opportunity to address the concerns we've seen regarding the agreement terms of content creator programs. And above all, we would like to apologize for any unpleasant experiences or doubts caused by the miscommunication of these terms." So they're saying miscommunication, which, again, let me tell you, this is not miscommunication. They purposely put this in here to try and get a positive buzz. And look, their effect worked. Regardless of whether the game was actually good on its own merits or not, they went through the initial weekend and they didn't have any real negativity. I mean, from the creators, right? Obviously, anybody else could say bad things if they wanted to, but their objective was achieved by this. And to say that it was unpleasant and a miscommunication, you literally said people could not give subjective negative reviews of the game. I don't see how that's a miscommunication. Alas, they go on to say, "The Content Creator Program is a small-scale project that aims to aid in the production of incredible content by supporting creators through giving them more resources." That's fine, that's good, but here is like Content Creator Program 101. Never require content creators to say anything specific one way or the other, and you're in the clear. Supporting content creators, great. Supporting them to produce better content, great. Having a content creator program to interface, learn from them, take feedback, give them assets, maybe give them some special access, ping ideas off them, all perfect. But you can't do this. I don't know how the team missed this. I feel like if anyone had any experience anywhere else, they should have known this is a super, super obvious, super, super easy thing that you do not do and has been established for eons. Now, maybe NetEase enforced this. I don't know. I would think that they would know as well, but I don't know. Maybe NetEase forced this, and perhaps it isn't even something that lies at the feet of the influencer managers or the people in charge of the content creator teams. Maybe it came from the straight higher ups, and they tried to warn them that this is a bad look, a bad move, and they were like, no, we're going to do this. I could see that happening. I've played some games from some Eastern companies where they do have a much more restrictive take on things. Atlas is usually very confusing about how they want you to cover persona, what they will allow, what they won't allow. So there is some precedent for it, but it never goes well. They say that, all feedback, positive and negative, ultimately helps us craft the best experience for ourselves and the players. Nice about face. We sincerely apologize for the confusion, suspicion, and frustration. And, we've talked about this part as well. I'm going to give them two things here. One side of the coin is, okay, maybe this was enforced by the higher-ups, and maybe the actual team at Marvel Rivals was like, we know this is bad, we don't want to do this, and now they're getting a chance to really voice how they actually feel instead of how the executives feel. The other side of the coin is that they're just responding and spinning this in the best way possible, because what else are you going to do? You're not going to say, oops, we tried to cover up any negativity and we wanted the game to succeed, and that's what we have to do to make the game succeed. Mwahaha, it was malicious. They're never going to say that. The silver lining here, and in fact it's probably a gold lining, is that the game is actually good, and that this, I don't think, does enough to detract from that early momentum that they have built. Whether you want to say that they built it through nefarious means or not, I don't think everyone playing the game is in this content creator program. I think a lot of people rejected the contract that have been on YouTube for a while and saw, or even haven't, just saw this and thought it seemed odd to them. I don't think they actually reached out to a ton of people and included them in the program. And I think that this is a way, way more overcomable problem than bad frame rate, connection issues, server problems. At the end of the day, if you're a new online multiplayer game, if you're a new free-to-play title trying to build buzz, you will take this. You will take an issue with your PR, with your content creator program, with your negative versus positive reviews much more easily and much more quickly than you would take an issue with the performance, with the servers, with the game itself. I mean, we could be talking about an issue where people are over the moon upset about the microtransactions, over the moon upset about the way the game plays, over the moon upset about the depiction of characters, so on and so forth. We're not seeing really any of that. This is the only real negative discourse that I see around this game, save for, oh, it's an Overwatch clone. Yeah, kind of at the end of the day, it is an Overwatch clone, but I feel like those people are not into the game and doing something that I've been guilty of in the past. Like, I know, just like as I grow and learn, trying to improve myself, like everybody's in on something, everybody loves something, it's easy to sort of like be like, it's nothing more than an Overwatch clone. Is that, factually accurate? Yes, but so many games are clones of clones of clones of clones. At the end of the day, if you enjoy the game, it is a well-made game, and if you prefer Marvel over Blizzard, that's totally your prerogative and totally fine, and they're delivering something that I think is actually a solid experience. So this is really a win for the team at Marvel Rivals. It stinks that there's any negativity surrounding the game and surrounding this early launch period, but I think by the time the actual game launches, it is forgiven, it is forgotten, and maybe they actually get their content creator program, really ironed out, running really well and smooth by the time the game launches. I think there's much more desire to play this game, for people to get in, for it to eventually come to console, than there is upset over this. And so at the end of the day, the closing thought here is that Marvel Rivals' biggest problem isn't really that big of a problem, and all things considered, they have nailed this early access closed alpha period. They have really done better than, I don't know, just about anybody else I can think of right now. Like, this game comes out and it's purring. And that is rare, and that is impressive, and, you know, that's why I'm still playing. If it was problem-laden, I wouldn't be playing. I do think the negative review thing is not great. I wasn't subject to that. I still think the game is very positive. There's plenty of people that were giving their genuine takes, and now we'll see. If there is some huge turning of the tides, if all of a sudden everybody does become negative, well, you know, that'll be voiced. That'll be made clear. I don't think that happens, though. I think even if they revise the contract to be, you know, allowing you to say whatever you want, which is how it should be, like 100%, that's what it should be. You should be able to say whatever you want about this game. And if they want to limit, like I said, you know, explicit language or racist language, that's totally fine. That, you know, has no place really at all. That's fine. But you should be able to criticize the game. You should be able to criticize any game, even if you're given a free code, even if you're flown out to the studio, no matter what happens, no matter where you are, no matter how you play this game, they should never restrict your freedom of speech, as silly and weird as that sounds. But I do think Marvel Rivals will be able to overcome this. I do think Marvel Rivals will absolutely succeed. I think Marvel Rivals is a quality, cool game, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. To me, the only way they can really screw this up is if they decide to get real crazy with the season pass pricing, real crazy with the cosmetics. But I feel like, I don't know, it seems like they got a good head on their shoulders. It seems like the game is made quite well. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how it continues and develops and how much time they put up between the alpha and, you know, the actual release. Because right now we got 10 days of this, but then it goes away. And how quickly can you get that next thing out, an open beta, a new play test, something, so that you keep momentum rolling, you keep fans hungry, and you keep getting more players in to build this thing up. We'll have to wait and see, but let me know your take in the comments down below. Do you think this is kind of a non-issue? Do you think it's a worse issue than I think? Do you think it's something that, you know, they should be, what's the word, punished for? Or do you think, hey, like, they made a mistake? Or do you think it just doesn't matter at all because the game is good and that kind of trumps everything? Let me know your take in the comments down below. Till next time, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Drink some hot chocolate, and we will see you all alive.